Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to our exclusive webinar on navigating the asset landscape, Symphony AI's guide to asset lifecycle management. I am Ajit Deve, your host, and it's my pleasure to guide you through this knowledge session. So before we start, a few guidelines I would like to make you people aware of. This webinar is happening on Teams platform, so your names will be visible in the attendee list. And also this session will be recorded. Hope you would be fine with the same. We will take your questions during the Q&A session. Meanwhile, if you have any queries, questions, please use hand raise option or you can post the same in chat box. We will take the questions towards the end of this webinar. Being participants, you are automatically mute and you do not have access to turn on your cameras. We will allow you to speak in the Q&A session. So let's get started. Enterprise asset management is a critical component of today's dynamic business environment for organizations to achieve their business goals. For companies with a large asset base, implementing strong asset lifecycle life management is essential, and selecting the appropriate solution is critical to realizing the full benefits of the digital revolution. So why is an asset life cycle management solution important, particularly for large and asset-heavy organizations? Managing a multitude of assets dispersed across multiple geographic locations and participating in multiple cost center or projects presents unique challenges for these entities. These resources can be found in physical or virtual stores. These difficulties can have serious repercussions, such as decreased asset visibility, misplaced inventory, problems with compliances, safety violations, higher expenses, and malfunctioning machinery. For these centers to function smoothly from headquarters to global operations, these challenges must be acknowledged and addressed. Therefore, we are delighted to extend an invitation to you for this special webinar, which is on here we will introduce you our asset lifecycle management solution, a groundbreaking solution to ensure seamless experience when managing assets across different locations. In this webinar is intended to address significant pain points that an asset-heavy organization may encounter. So let's deep dive into exploration to discover the future of asset lifecycle management solutions. Together, let's address critical pain points and embark on a journey towards enhanced efficiency and productivity. To take this forward, let me introduce our speakers for the day. We have Mr. Piyush Parshar, who is the Territory Sales Manager at Symphony AI, and Sumit Sindhwani, Senior Solution Consultant at Symphony AI. So with this, let me hand this over to Mr. Piyush Parshar. But before that, we have a quick poll coming on your screen, and I request all of you to please submit your responses on the same. Yeah, it is on your screen. I request all of you to please submit your responses. We'll wait for a few more seconds. Over to you, Piyush.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and very good afternoon to all. Thank you for sparing this hour with us, and that too a very difficult hour in the day, immediately post lunch, sitting and listening to something which is going to be slightly technical and more of functional is can be tricky. Me and Sumit will try our best to keep it interesting, keep it interactive, right? So, and very happy to take as many number of questions during the session, right? So, once again, thank you all. I'm Piyush, and I'm representing Symphony AI on this forum. And like the uh, topic explained earlier in the session, and also the response to the poll that I see here right now, let's understand that most of the people on this call are slightly or fairly aware of the concept. We don't have any voting or very few voting on people who are seasoned or experienced in this particular product or in this domain. So we'll keep the conversation in that fashion so that it's understandable to everyone on this forum and not keep it any technical, right? So let's keep it more of functional and closer to the day in a life operation that we typically go through, right? So let me just spend not more than a minute or so to introduce who we are. So Symphony AI is a SaaS organization, and we are an AI first SaaS organization, and we are building products that will help enterprises, large enterprises, to work in future. And typically, we operate and service large enterprises across five verticals: retail and CPG, finance, industrial, which is manufacturing and industrial operations, all the large enterprises in the media space, and particularly a solution catering to all enterprise IT, which means all sizable business, agnostic to any particular industry, and which is the enterprise IT solution. That is where we help our enterprise customers with service management, enterprise asset management, workflow automation, and service automations. So, as an organization, we are a bunch of around 2,500 people, and all collectively on a mission to build an enterprise AI SaaS company. And we have been consciously, naming ourselves Symphony AI, as we mean that AI is going to be more meaningful than just certain interface with end users or a customer to chat and have a conversation. We sincerely mean that AI is going to revolutionize all the facets of a operations, of a service operations, or very specific to the topic of today's session, which is around asset, whether somebody who's managing the asset, somebody who's consuming the asset, or somebody who's more of in a role to administer this entire platform where this management, incoming, outgoing, retirals of this asset happen. How can AI impact the life and day in a life operation of all these three people who are coming and using the product in different role, right? And that's what we mean. We sincerely mean to take AI to an enterprise grade use cases. So that's who we are. Right now, we are operating across 33 countries. Very fortunate to serve some of the largest customers across all industry, whether it's a retail or an industrial or a media or a CPG company or any large enterprise through our enterprise IT solution. And I think this is a trust that we have been able to build over last a decade and a half of operations in the business, and very proud and very confident that all the complex and all the challenges thrown by these large enterprises, we have been able to service them and keep them happy, right? So instead of giving the entire generic information, let me just double click on what at enterprise IT we mean, right? Enterprise IT solution, like I mentioned, provides the service management, asset management, service automation, and definitely inbuilt AI capabilities to the large enterprise, right? We have been fortunate enough to service some of the largest names in the country, in India, and globally across all the industry with our IT solution, IT enterprise solution. And while doing it, we have been also fortunate and lucky enough to be consecutively recognized by some of the largest media and I would say insight websites and platforms. Just to name, I mean, we are, I think, one of the most loved service management and asset management solution when you look at the Gartner Peer Insight, and that is, just doing it for a year means something we did great, but doing it consecutively for 5 years, it means we are in habit of giving a definite, a solid enterprise grade software to the market. And I think we are really proud, and really it gives a lot of confidence for us when we talk to our customers and help them on this enterprise IT side, right? While I would just like to spend another 10 seconds on what Symphony AI's enterprise IT solution stack include. We'll just drill down to one of it today and not the entire gamut of product that we bring in it. Definitely, we have a very solid IT service management, which is primarily starting from an incident, problem, change, release, the service management part of the entire IT operations. There are large enterprises who are escalating an IT service management to a more of an enterprise service management use case, which is servicing through other departments as well using the same platform. We definitely, and we will talk more about the enterprise asset management component of this entire platform. We definitely have a very strong service automation, which is more of right from a scheduling to managing all the notifications, integrating with third-party systems, ensuring that all the other invested systems are utilized well, and you get a single command center sort of operations for your entire service operations at your enterprise. And definitely the generative AI, the co-pilot capabilities, right? Whether you're in an agent role or a service desk support role, or if you are an end user, how does an AI jumps in to help you to reduce the time that you spend on this particular portal or the ticket or any particular activity or any asset that you're trying to manage or trying to borrow from your organization. We will definitely love to help customers on this. So this is the overall portfolio of the product that we take to the market. I'll take a pause. Maybe I'll request team to launch a quick next poll before we double click and jump onto the asset lifecycle discussion overall. So team, back to you. If you can help me with a quick poll around this. Are we getting the poll? Okay, nonetheless, I think there may be some challenge, but it's okay. Let me go to the next step over here. So I think let's hit the nail and the core purpose for what we are here gathered together. What to expect from an asset management solution, right? So all the CIOs and technology leaders and people in your roles, right, who are using or expecting or are thinking to use a solid asset management solution, I think there's a strong ask from a product company like us that we do not offer another book, a book for record keeping, a table for record keeping of assets where you have all the asset data, lying and using it more as a dump or a repository with a simple dashboard, or, you're able to import, export data. I think the expectation is now far beyond than this, whether it's your uh, asset, which is a technology asset, maybe your laptop, hardware, a desktop or a printer or your data center devices, or if you're an industrial enterprise, if you're a manufacturing entity, this can be your any asset, right? Any asset which is getting consumed as part of your manufacturing process, or any machinery which is your an asset component supporting your manufacturing process, or likewise, right? I'm just taking few examples, right? For an airline, this could be a different suite of complete asset, right? So we typically approach this entire asset suite to identify whether it's a tech asset or it's a non-tech asset. The another lingo for it is an IT asset or a non-IT asset. The expectation from a very large enterprise grade solution is that, can the tool help us optimize cost? I mean, the entire cost of owning the asset is the cost of procuring until the asset is retired from the organization. Can the product help us optimize asset? Can we have a more efficient operation using the similar set of asset, which may mean a lot of things, right? We'll definitely double click all the 3 points, right? And equally, can we have an absolute clear visibility of asset whereabouts, right? Whether it's related to location or the vendor or the associated contracts, whatever we want to know about an asset at the time of operations or when it's an urgent situation. I think visibility, cost optimization, and ability to drive efficiency is the updated demand from a very mature asset management solution. And I think we have been fortunate enough to be thinking and investing in these three lines much in advance, and we have been able to help some of our large customers, right? So if we just think from another lens on the same topic, that hey, if a asset management which was reactive in nature, right, it's more of a bookkeeping, or it's more of a table of records where we go and fetch data. Hey, what's the underlying contract for this particular asset, or when is the asset about to retire, or when is it reaching the end of life over here, right? We can take an example of a simple laptop, right? I think all of us might be using a laptop or maybe a handheld device to log in into this particular session, right? So when our enterprise, when our employer bought this laptop, until it will be in use with me or with my another colleague, and until the time this goes out or is junked or is discarded out of the system, whatever happens in this, right? Is that happening in a reactive way? Somebody is querying it and then getting the data, or the platform is able to help people who are managing the asset and people who are using the asset in a more predictive way? Am I getting those nudges upfront? Do I get to know that, hey, I am approaching an end of life, and these are the 5 things that I need to take care, and this is a particular line item which should start 3 months in advance, right? I think the expectation has definitely switched from asking a reactive solution to a predictive solution, right? And that's where Summit AI's a very mature asset management and asset lifecycle solution comes in. Uh, we have a very robust compliance and regulation, I would say, features in it, all the reports, all the mechanisms, all the fixes that are required for a large enterprise to adhere to a very strong compliance, whether, if you're a banking solution, if you're a banking enterprise, or you're an insurance business. I think you are highly regulated, right? Likewise, as an airline or any other business, right? Does the solution help you remain compliant? Does it help predictively nudge you when you are about to cross the line and you may miss on the compliance, right? I think that's what is demanded, and we bring it as a very robust component of the entire solution. Uh, is the solution, I mean, we have been solving it on multiple points, right? Maintaining a solid record, keeping it updated, ability to auto detect, auto discover a lot of information within the network, outside of the network, right? I think these are certain capabilities that elevates the entire solution above average, and solid enterprise grade solution expects these features to be there, right? And again, I think we have been nudged, pushed, and demanded by some of the very large customers of Symphony AI to have these features pre-built. And I think we have been developing brick by brick on all of these features at least for a decade, and just fortunate enough to say that the product is mature enough to give a differentiated experience to any of the large enterprise on this particular usage, right? So I'll take a pause over here, because the next topic that I switch to is more on understanding what goes through in the asset life cycle, right? So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that right from a time an asset is procured, or there's a demand to procure an asset, right, in the organization, I think that is the origin point of an asset in an enterprise. Whether I need to order, let's say, 10 tables, or maybe let's say 30 printers in an enterprise, or let's say I'm a manufacturing unit and I need a particular material handling equipment and I need to order 15 of them. The demand itself is the start of why do I need it, how many do I need it, and that's where the asset lifecycle begins until this entire procurement happens. The procured products are assigned to the respective department or individuals or leaders to utilize it, followed by there are a lot of sequences of event. There may be a breakdown on that particular asset. There can be a situation when you need to go ahead and claim some warranty or AMC around it. There can be situation that it is taken back and pulled it into the inventory because of certain purpose. It gets reassigned to another department or another individual, right? I think all of us can definitely relate to this when we take an example of our personal laptops, right? That our enterprise give, right? So it also passes through all this particular typical asset life cycle, and until let's say the device is fit for 5 years of usage, and once it's nearing 4 year and 4.5 year, is the respective department head or the primary user of the asset, is are they getting the right updates, are they getting the right alerts, do they know that what is going to be the end of life process to hand it over back to the particular respective asset owning department? And do we also know that, hey, this particular asset needs to be discarded in a particular format, right? I think all of us, all the enterprise in the globe are right now rushing towards a net zero target of being carbon neutral, right? In that cases, there's very stringent governance around how a particular asset is discarded after the complete life or it has gone through the entire usage life cycle, right? And these are very complex processes. There's involvement of multiple vendors. It involves a lot of approvals. It involves notifications, right? So right from this thinking of procuring until this entire end, I think it's a very interesting and a very complex phase. And that's what a mature asset lifecycle management platform should be able to manage, right? It should be able to keep the visibility on, it should be able to keep all the contracts associated, people associated, department associated intact when you talk about this entire life cycle overall. And again, Symphony AI's asset lifecycle solution, we have been continuously maturing on this. And what we can say that, to unlock a solid saving and drive efficiency for any enterprise, the best we use our particular asset or invested assets, the better advantage we have to drive the efficiency, right? And I think that's where a lot of our customers are really delighted and using the product for, some for 5 years, 7 years, 9 years of usage, right? And consecutively demanding us to deliver more, right? So I just wanted to touch upon what an asset lifecycle management solution would do and how much it would matter to a particular enterprise, right? Just to cut this story short and possibly, maybe the last messaging that we will have on this topic, at least from my side. And before we switch to Sumit and just take a quick glance of the product also, uh, just trying to brief how a large enterprise is impacted and which are the parameters on which they are impacted, uh, just because of not having a robust asset lifecycle or an asset management solution, right? It starts with a lot of things, right? Whether all my lease, associated contracts, associated documentations, warranty documentation, due dates, are they all updated or not, right? So we call it the entire lease management suite, right? Is it robust? Is it tightly bounded across all the stages of asset life cycle or not, right? So that becomes a very strong pillar for the solution. Performance tracking is another equally and very valid ask from all the enterprises that, hey, the asset, let's say in this case, let's an IT asset, right? Can the platform go ahead and track what's the ongoing performance of the asset, right? Is it underperforming? Has some upgradations happened? Does it expect an upgradation, right? Is there a output reduction that has happened from that particular asset? Something more is expected, it's not able to deliver, right? That's a very robust thing for a future, for a more from a leader and analysis standpoint. That's a very very key ask from a platform like this, right? Going to another important thing, what an asset is primarily being used for is more of an asset visibility in the organizations. Hey, did we procure 50 units of it or 5,000 units of it or 500 units of it? Uh, Already assigned 490? Are we having two in the inventory or are we having 20 in the inventory? Are there certain used ones lying unutilized at the moment? Can they be brought back? Can they be reassigned to someone or maybe assigned to a particular department, right? So that means a real-time visibility of assets, where it is, how it is, what's the condition, what's the life cycle left on that particular thing, right? And while managing all these levers, right, I'll not touch upon every, uh, all of this should tie back to a very solid mechanism that drives cost efficiency and some budgeting prediction for the enterprise, right? I think if all these pillars are touched in a mature way, if they are dealt brick by brick, I think that's a solid service done to a large enterprise, just from an asset life cycle and complete asset management standpoint overall, right? So, and that's what we have been able to do. And while building the products on all these pillars, we're really happy to tell you that, we have seen certain incredible outcomes for large enterprise who are using it, right? There has been a manufacturing unit where, it's a more of a logistics function where we have seen almost 20% increase in maintenance productivity, which is more on an equipment handling use cases, right? So it's a big thumbs up. 20% for a very large enterprise, for a large operation, it means a lot, right? It directly impacts to their bottom line, right? We have seen substantial decrease, right, for a large enterprise, reduction in the inventory cost, right, which is just by correct visibility, right? They do not hold, or they do not over order, they do not early order, right? They're able to manage the cash flow really well, just from a inventory buying and holding standpoint, right? So these are the certain outcomes that, gives us a pat on the back that we are heading in the right direction. We are truly an enterprise grade mature solution for an IT asset, non-IT asset, complete asset lifecycle management suite. And, I would love to, take even one-to-one conversations with any one of you. If you want me to further deep dive on any of our capabilities, or if you want me to discuss a particular scenario in further detail, right? I think we are here. We'll spend this call also towards it. But even if not, if I'm not able to answer, I'll be more than delighted to take these conversations one-on-one as well, right? So with this, I'll not unnecessarily recap the entire thing. I think we touched substantially everything. What a robust asset life cycle mean, right from, uh, procuring to managing it in the stock, discovering it, service, installation, allocation, reallocations, repair, maintenance, decommissioning, disposal. So that's the entire life cycle. And having a solution, having a point solution, having a well thought, branched out alternatives in the product, it helps large enterprise. So with that, I think I'll pause, and let's look at how did we deliver at least, and let's see if we are ready with another poll at this point. If it's ready, I think we should take a poll over here. Uh, Team, are we good with the poll? Can you
Yes,
help me
yes,
with
yes.
the
I'm
poll?
just launching the poll. It's there on your screen. I request all of you to please submit your responses.
That's an interesting stuff question. Do we have an outcome of the poll already?
Yeah, it's there in the chat box. You want me to display once?
Yeah, we would love to see that.
Let me share. People are still responding. If anyone left, please submit your response.
Okay. So that's very interesting to know that the challenges are equally distributed. I would say that this sums up at a generic level, at our level, that almost all of the listed challenges are real. Uh, we do understand the pain it may bring to your operations. Uh, but a very genuine feedback, and very good to know that these are the real pain points at your side, right? Maybe we'll try and answer certain more questions after my colleague Sumit has briefly touched upon how the tool looks and how the tool works. Sumit, over to you whenever you're ready.
You are on mute, Sumit.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you, Piyush, for wonderfully explaining the solution. I'll just share my screen and showcase the demonstration for the product. Just confirm me once you are able to view the screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, we are able to.
Thank you. So I'll start from where Piyush left. So from the details what Piyush has given, using the asset lifecycle management solution from SymphonyAI, you will be able to control, you will be able to visualize the inventory of your assets. You will be able to be compliant. You will also be able to optimize and strategically plan your decisions, either in case of capacity planning, buying, or managing the assets within the organization. Now, when we talk about the asset lifecycle management solution, it is very easy to handle solution and also easy to implement. All the configurations which are done on the solution are done from the GUI, and this is a no-code, low-code platform using which you can easily do all the implementations and management of the solution. Now, how you, when we talk about assets, first point comes into mind, how will we manage and how will we bring the assets into the system? Because that is the first task what we need to handle when we are deploying any of the asset management or asset lifecycle management solutions. So being Summit, we have made that job easy, wherein we have multiple different options for bringing the assets into the system. First point is we can do a bulk import. So we have an import section using which we can bulk import. We can create templates. When we define the categories, we can create the templates as well, and then we can download the templates for implementing. As soon as you select a device type, the category, the catalog for that will be here. You can just download the template, fill in the data, and upload it from the GUI itself. Second, we also support, if you look at the whole and soul for the IT and non-IT both sections, you can do the discovery, wherein we support agentless and agent-based discovery. Then comes integration with your ERP solution, which is the biggest challenge what people are facing in the industry. So either it is any of the ERP solutions, SAP, Oracle, or any of the solutions, we can integrate with all kind of ERP solutions. And we have two ways to do that. One is the REST APIs using which we can bring the assets into the system. So as soon as the ERP solution will consume some our asset lifecycle management's APIs, and a new asset is created, and once the click button, submit button is clicked, the asset will also be parallelly created into asset lifecycle management of SymphonyAI. The second mode is the when you can extract and keep it on one of our mid servers, and we can run a scheduler and pick up the data from there and upload the database. Always, and the schedule for the same can also be defined as per your requirement. So this is number one option wherein you can bring the assets into the system. Second comes the inventory. So you can manage your complete inventory into Summit system. I'll showcase you that as well. So when you go into the inventory section, you will have your different kind of asset types. So we consider fixed assets wherein you can manage your IT and non-IT assets. It can be either discoverable or import, as I told. Then you can also optimize by using consumable and accessories as the different categories wherein you can manage your assets. The count of assets can be managed here along with the life cycle, and then the softwares. So in today's webinar, we will focus more on the fixed assets. So you can have your different tenants as we are multi-tenant in nature, and then you can have all your IT, non-IT assets into the system. You can define your different categories, and then there are different statuses. which you can view. So this is the complete dashboard which you can view, wherein you can see how many assets which are there in the organization, which are allocated to users, which are available in stock, which are inactive in nature, which are sent for repair, and which are in transit. So there are multiple different sub statuses which you can also define, and there is complete lifecycle management solution also under it. So you can manage it, you can manage the detail of your inventory, you can manage the approvals. So we have multiple approvals which I'll showcase you. Then we have the complete audit history of the asset will also be captured, and we can also have integrated service management solution wherein all the tickets can also be created, wherein you can manage the complete workflow as well. So starting with one of the asset, when we say that we have an asset which is in stock. Now, what are life cycle scenarios? What you can follow from here? So you have your list of assets. You have multiple locations, what we define in the system, which we call as a store concept. So when we talk about store, it is nothing but a location which you can define, and then you can manage your life cycle for movement of asset from one store to another. That means one location to another location. So you can keep a drill down of the location details, and then you can create a store. It can be a physical store or a virtual store. Both are feasible in the system. So this is just an example of the store. Now here I'll open one of the assets. I'll take you to the life cycle and then open one of the asset to showcase you the details as well. Now here what you can do, you can manually add one of the assets if you want to. You can update different values of the assets. You can allocate the asset. Now how will you allocate the asset? You can select one of the asset here and click on allocate. It will take you to the next screen wherein your allocation form will come up. There you can either allocate, there are multiple validation checks which are already configured in the system. One, if you are allocating it to a permanent as a permanent device or a temporary device. Then in case of temporary, the allocation date can be the return date will become mandatory. You can also allocate it to single user, multiple users, department, location, contractual users as per your requirement. You can integrate the system with your AD, and then you can quickly put the name of the user and you can allocate the device to that particular user. As I said, permanent and temporary allocation type validation is already built in. As soon as you say check on temporary, your return date will become mandatory. So this will help you in another validation, because based on this return date, you can also set notifications which will come to the stakeholders and they can ask for the return. Then you can also define the purpose of the asset and you can define the status, and all those things can be done where the asset can be allocated. Similarly, you can, like I showcased you single asset, you can do bulk allocation of assets as well. So you can select multiple assets and allocate. You can send the asset to repair and bring the asset from repair as well. So this is a complete repair process what we have, in which we also generate a movement pass, which will help you in generating your gate pass, which you can submit to the security team, and then they can also follow the process, post the approvals. So here you will be able to manage your cost. You will also be able to manage the inventory and your vendor detail as well. Then comes the store to store movement, wherein I showcased your location. You can manage your location, you can move, you can select an asset, do a movement, and again, all these scenarios have returnable and non-returnable scenarios pre-configured as a validation check into the system. So you can easily manage your movements as well. I'll showcase you a movement in a while, how the movement approvals are there, and based on that, your gate pass can also be printed. Then you can also generate your barcodes. This is a very important feature from physical asset verification. So you can select the asset, you can configure the QR codes within the system, and then you can just take a printout and put it on the device. Then when you want to configure the physical asset verification as a process, you can easily configure the system that I want to generate a physical verification process for particular location at this particular time. So the request will be initiated to an analyst for that particular location or the store manager. He can use SymphonyAI mobile app and log into it and just scan the QR codes to give you a physical asset verification report, which will give you how many assets were allocated in this area and how many are available. Is it more or less, or it is the report is correct? So accordingly, the counts will be there, and you can easily complete your physical asset verification. And this is a major requirement from the life cycle management perspective, wherein you need to manage your count of assets when the allocation of assets. Then we have asset deactivation as a process. Once you deactivate the asset, there will again be a approval which can be initiated, and then you can also define your reason. It can either be lost, damaged, end of life, e-scrap, and many other reasons can also be defined. Based on that, you can put your remarks, manage the attachments, and then initiate a your deallocation and deactivation approval process within the system. So this is when the asset is available in store. So when the assets are allocated, there are some more lifecycle perspectives which are there. I'll take you to that as well. So once I click on allocated assets, the list of allocated assets will come up, and then it will also showcase you different lifecycle processes like reallocate. In the previous screen, you saw allocate. Now it is reallocate. Say, for example, the asset is allocated to Piyush. Now he is moving from project A to project B, and his asset is getting reallocated to me. So you can easily reallocate by selecting this process. Similarly, deallocation. If I'm moving out of that particular project, you can also have a deallocation process, and then you can again allocate. Or you are deallocating, like I'm moving out of the organization, you can deallocate my, or offboarding of a user can be configured, and you can deallocate the asset from me and put it into the your store. Then we have a process of deallocation and deactivation to save time. Say, for example, a product is out of life and you want to deactivate that product. So you can directly use this deallocate and deactivate process to save time and directly move the asset into inactive state. Again, there is a floor to floor movement. Say, for example, you have a multiple floor building. So an user is moving from floor 1 to floor 3. You can have a floor to floor movement as well. Then you can do a digital reconciliation. This is a parallel process which we have configured like your physical asset verification. I said this is digital acceptance of user from the user. Say, for example, you have allocated asset to 10 users, and 6 months down the line, you want to check that are they using the same asset or not. Then you can initiate a reconciliation process, which will be initiated, and then the user can go to his portal access and accept that particular asset. Here, they will be able to see what assets they are pending for return, which are acceptable, which are already accepted, which are pending for acceptance, or which they have rejected. So the complete list will be available here, and accordingly they can do the acceptance. Say, for example, this asset is pending for acceptance. You can just go ahead, click on accept. You can also select your digital terms and conditions, which you can define in the system. And then once he accepts it, you will be able to say, for example, this is my, you can say primary or secondary asset, or some project based or floated asset, and that can be accepted or rejected. Say, for example, the asset configuration which was requested is not as per that, so you can reject as well. And if you want to return, you can return that particular asset as well. In terms of reconciliation, as I said, you can just click on the reconciliation. What all reconciliation processes have been initiated for you, you can easily go ahead and accept the reconciliation. Say, for example, I select the desktop category. Yeah. So there are multiple assets which are to be reconciled. So I can quickly go ahead and select the asset reconciliation. So there are multiple ways in which you can do the physical asset verification and the digital reconciliation, which is a very important process within the system. Now, how will you will be able to see all the details and manage the life cycle, what you have, which I have taken you through. So this is an asset detail. You can configure this form with all the fields which you are requiring using our form builder utility. So the first section will tell you about the life cycle, what we have to manage. That is, what is the date when the asset was added, when it was updated, is it allocated to someone, who is the reporting manager, what is the condition, what are the different values for the asset number with the serial number, your ERP details, RFID tag, your type of asset, purchase requisitions, and received or not goods, warranty details. All the requirements which you have from the field's perspective are feasible to be created in the system, and then you can easily manage the asset into the system. Once you have all these features, then the asset history comes in, what I showcased you. So you can see how many times the asset has been allocated, when it was allocated, when it was deallocated, what was the ticket number which was created for allocation, if you have integrated with the service management, and whom the asset is with now. Based on the movement history, how many times the asset has moved, from what is the movement type, it is floor to floor, or from repair, back from repair. Once it is repaired, you can also see what is the cost which you have incurred for that. So that at the end of 4 years or 5 years, when you want to either replace or discard the asset, you can analyze what is the cost which you have spent on that particular asset. From the audit trail perspective, each and every change in the asset will be tracked. When the change happened, who did that change, what was the earlier value, what is the new value. Then comes the relationship, wherein you can see all the tickets which have been created based on that particular asset. We also have a contract management as a feature. Using this, you will be easily able to see what all contracts are there within the system, and how who are the spokes for that particular contract, what are the assets which are part of that particular contract. You will be easily able to view that. I'll be able to showcase you. Just give me a second. So these are the list of contracts. I'll open one of the contract. You can also set notifications for notifying your stakeholders, financial stakeholders, that this contract is about to expire, and these are the spokes. So accordingly, they can take a decision. What was the last value? What was the PO? What was the PO which was released? All those terms and conditions can also be stored into the system. All the assets which are part of that particular contract can also be mapped easily. From the movement perspective, there are multiple different type of movements. When you send a device to repair, bring the device back from repair from one store to another store, you can easily manage the details of that particular asset. You can also view the approval scenarios. You can have up to 10 level of approvals for different type of scenarios. Then you can also have your approvals from different perspective. Approvals in terms of movement, approval in terms of reconciliation, wherein user approval will be there, acceptance will be there. Post that, manager approval can also be configured. You can also have a maker checker approval, wherein, say for example, a technician who updates the asset, then the admin of that particular asset management store can accept that change. Then when you are deactivating, you can have an approval. You can generate the gate pass. Multiple other processes are there. In terms of asset management, very important feature is preventive maintenance. So you can also manage the preventive maintenance using our service catalog as a feature, wherein you can have recurring SRs which can be configured, and then based on that, your work orders can also be created automatically based on the workflow what you define. And then the team who have been assigned that particular task can perform that particular preventive maintenance. How you can create these recurring request is you can just configure that the schedule. There is a custom scheduler which has to be run, using which you can create your scheduler, the ticket automatically. Then there is an asset alert configuration. Say for example, your asset is about to expire, or it is about to return, set for return date. So you can do that all the alert configuration along with the email IDs of the stakeholders whom you want to assign that particular activity. So all this is the form wherein you menu bar wherein you can do all the configurations. You can create your location and stores. You can do the status configurations. You can have your depreciation which can be calculated in our system. You can have your asset alert configuration. You can have your movement configurations. You can also set your store thresholds and multiple other configurations. So I'll also like to take you through some of the reports which we have. So we have reporting BI engine along with the solution what we offer, And we have 150 plus out-of-box reports for our service management and asset management in the solution pre-built. And if you want, you can also create using the BI engine and also integrate with Power BI or other reporting connectors, which are pre-built available with us. So this is a dashboard which is again there, wherein you can see category-wise assets. You can also view the data in detail, how many assets are allocated in store, inactive, and in repair. Similarly, store-wise asset, which is location-wise asset. Aging summary, which will tell you how many assets are there in different age category. And then your BU-wise or customer-wise summary. Then you can also have location-wise summary, which and all the reports here are drill down in nature. You can also have a report wherein you can see your warranty details, wherein you can see how many assets are there, where warranty is not defined, where warranty is already expired or about to expire. And we can also set notifications for this. Then you can also see your daily transaction reports, wherein you can see like your assets which are allocated in a month or day. You can have a filter of that. New assets which are being discovered or created, deactivated assets, repair assets sent for repair, movement details, deallocated assets, updated details. So these are few detailed reports what we have. Then you can also have a depreciation report, wherein you can have your purchase rate, and then once the formula is defined, what is the depreciation value, that can also be calculated and showcased, and you can utilize this. And there are multiple other reports from the asset management perspective, which we have pre-built, which can be utilized. So at the end, I would like to summarize that doing all these activities, you will be able to have complete visibility of your inventory. You will be able to have a control on the system. You will be able to know which asset is where and what is the status of that particular asset, the compliances, and the optimization and strategic planning, the 5 pillars of the asset lifecycle management. All those can be managed easily using it. So I'll would like to request team to raise a poll and call in Piyush, and then we can open for the Q&A.
Yep,
Absolutely.
sharing the poll. It's on your screen. I request all of you to please submit your responses. And with this, we are open for the questions as well. If anyone have any question, please post the same in chat box or use hand raise option. We will allow you to speak and ask the question directly.
I see a raise of hand,
Yeah,
possibly a question
there is
there.
yeah, there is a question by Mr. Pawan Dalmia. Do
Mhm.
these tools support AIX, AWS Linux?
Yes, we
Yeah,
support from the discovery perspective. We support cloud discovery. We support agentless discovery, wherein we have different protocols like SNMP, WMI, SSH. And from the agent based, we provide agents for Windows, Mac, and Linux devices.
Mr. Nikhil, I have allowed you to speak. You can unmute yourself and ask the question directly.
Yeah, hi, good evening. Am I audible?
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes,
Mr.
Nikhil.
Nikhil. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for allowing the question. I just wanted to ask one question that, if I have my AMCs also mentioned over
Yes.
there, and I want that, without any manual intervention, is there a system that while my AMC is, going to expire or some license is going to expire, I can get a notification automatically within the, before the AMC or the license is expired to my system so that we can take an action promptly on that?
Correct. Yes,
Absolutely.
this is very much feasible, and you can have multiple type of notifications based on your
Correct.
process and to different stakeholders as well.
Correct.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nikhil.
Any other questions?
Okay, there's another raise of hand, I think. No, oh, okay, that Nikhil. I think we answered Nikhil.
And there's one more in chat. Yeah, there is
Is
one
it
more question by Mr. Amardeep. Is it on-premises solution or only cloud-based?
so it's
So
a
we have both the offerings. It is on cloud as well and on premise as well. Based on your requirement, we can provide you the solution, sir.
Any other question? You can use hand raise option also so that you can speak to the speakers directly. There is one more question. What is the process of implementing asset lifecycle management solutions? And how quickly can organizations can start seeing the tangible benefits?
okay. Can I take that question, Sumit?
Yeah, please, please.
Yeah. So I think this is a variable. There is a variability depending on the volume of asset and the variability in the type of asset. We have seen large enterprises going live in as short as 3 to 4 weeks also. And we have also seen substantially large implementation cycles that is maximum of a 3.5 months to 4 months as well, right? This is completely based on what's the variability type and the nature of assets that you have. Typically, the maximum we have seen is 3.5 months, 4 months, and the shortest we have seen 2 to 3 weeks also. So somewhere between this is we can range it. If that answers the question. I think there was another part to the question that what is the process to do it? Let me answer it. And if I miss something, Sumit, do correct me. Typically, we would like to understand that what is the current nature of the data of your assets? Is it currently residing in a solution that you already have, or you are holding it in form of an Excel or a CSV? We need so we need to know that it's going to be a manual movement of data. It's going to be a sort of a tool-based movement. Based on that, we would like to do the classification, the configuration of the asset data that you want to capture, and subsequently starting the data movement over here overall. So these are some elementary steps. If you want a further double click on this, we can also help you with that.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah. So there are a few questions coming in chat.
Yes.
I think Amar, yeah.
Yeah, I'll read the questions for you. Amardeep is asking again, customization allowed as per our requirement, and how to support a remote or on premises.
Yeah. Sumit, you want to take that?
Yeah, definitely. So customization is feasible. We can discuss on what is your requirement is, and then we can easily configure the solution for you. And using our solution, it is more of a configuration rather than customization. Customization only is basically the form which you create on a drag and drop basis. And we do both kind of implementations.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is one more
Yeah.
question from Mr. Nikhil Nigam. He's from Amity Education Group. So we have a huge inventory and require tagging of assets also. Do you
Similar.
undertake tagging of assets also for IT and non-IT assets both?
Yeah. So for tagging, you can utilize our QR codes, which can be configured based on your requirement. And then once the printout is taken, you can deploy that and you can do a physical asset verification using our mobile app.
Correct.
Hope that answers, Nikhil.
Any more
Thank you for
questions?
confirming.
There is one more question. Many organizations already have established systems in place. So how seamlessly can SymphonyAI's ALCM solution integrate with existing enterprise system such as ERP or CRM?
Yeah. So as I said, we have two ways. One is the REST API based integration, wherein that ERP can consume our REST API. And as soon as a new entry is created, that can be created parallelly into our system automatically. And the second is the Excel import, which you can, CSV export, which you can put it on our mid server, and we can run a scheduler and pick up data from there and update the system automatically.
So there is additional question by Mr. Amandeep. Software automated inventory, EOL and EOS reports are we getting?
Okay, so we can easily do that as well. There are two ways. One, you can enter the data of end of life end of support to get notifications. And if you want, we have Dell and Lenovo support for getting the EOL, EOS using REST APIs into our system automatically. And if there are other vendors, then we have a third-party plugin using which we can achieve that.
Thank you. Any more questions? There is one more question. For large enterprises with diverse asset portfolios, how scalable is the solution to accommodate varying asset types and volumes?
Sure.
We are, yeah, Piyush would be like take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to directly answer it, I'm not beating around the bush. We are working with, you can say, one of the largest automotive manufacturing company for last 10 years, and the size and scale that it absorbs, we have been comfortably able to handle it. Variability, size, and scale, all three parameters we have been able to address and delight the customer. We can definitely love to know the variability and scalability that you are expecting. Definitely for large enterprise, I mean, we have seen organizations managing set of 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, going up to 6 lakh assets as well. And there are also enterprises who are more service heavy, and while those asset counts remain around 7, 8, 10,000 also, right? So again, multi locations, multi type of asset, multi vendor operations, we have been able to absorb and service these customers. If that answers, Mr. Vidyanand.
Yep. Thank you. And there is one more question. License require asset wise or user wise?
Okay, it's as per the total count of the asset, and primarily there will be two parameters. One, do you need also the ability to discover these assets on your network, or if it's an end user device, do you need the ability uh, of an agent based discovery, or you just need to manage the life cycle, right, of a dormant asset, or an asset which we can say is a non-discoverable IT asset, right? Uh, these are the only two parameters to decide, but primary logic is the total volume of asset count on which the licensing will work over here.
There is one more question by Mr. Amardeep. If we opted, how the implementation part and training?
So implementation is 99.9% time owned by Summit Symphony AI itself, and the Summit implementation teams takes the role of doing the professional service activity over here, and it goes through all the phases of designing the requirement, doing a proper documentations, followed by the complete implementation, and it has a mandatory followed up step of end user, analyst, and administration training. All these trainings are definitely recorded and passed on to you as well. And we do also offer some of our customers free certifications of our platform. So if you want, let's say, one or two or three people to be nominated to be a little more hands-on on the tool, and you just want to do a self-configuration forever in future, uh, these are completely Symphony AI funded certifications that we can sponsor. So these are the mechanisms to address implementation and trainings for the future.
Thank you.
Does that answer, Amardeep? Was that your question? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? We'll wait for a few more seconds.
Okay, I think that was a good number of questions we saw. Thanks for this good interaction. I think it means that we have been able, Sumit and I have been able to do some justice to your a little more than our time that we got this afternoon. So thank you from my side. I hope to, connect maybe if required. We'll connect one-to-one also. I'm always reachable. I'll ensure that my email and contact number is passed on to all of you on this call. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you, Sumit. If you want, you can also post your contact details in the chat box. So if anyone is interested, they can directly reach out to you. And with this, thank you very much all the participants for joining us for this event and being there till the end. Hope it was insightful and engaging session for all of you. With that note, thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a great day.